Alrighty. Hello, my crackerjack, honky tonks, big nigger gook Jew faggots. This is my July 10th video bicycle blog. I haven't done one since since the beach on the western side of the Peloponnnesia, and I did another one 2 nights ago, but I accidentally erased it. I've done that a few times so far on this trip, erasing my videos. I'm gonna flip this back so I don't keep looking at myself. It's distracting. So I'm just gonna take my time on this. The other one I tried to get it done in under 10 minutes, and I'll just take my time with this one. Yeah, so the last one, since that last one, I went into Olympia, and then I did Olympia, and Olympia was really interesting. Olympia was amazing, and I guess I'll talk about that later when I talk about Greece. But Olympia was really cool. And then I go home, or back to the campsite, and I see a really nice campsite called Campsite Diana, because it's really terraced, and you know, the owner there is really nice, and they had internet for free and stuff. And so and I was gonna leave the next day, but I get home to upload my video from Olympia, since I had internet there, and lo and behold, the new camera I bought, my my Canon, even though my last video camera was a Canon, this video camera, unlike my last video camera, which you just push record and then you stick the card in the computer and the computer can read it, and then, you know, and Windows Movies Maker can read it. This one records in some, like, not AVI like the other one, the simple format, but some like doc format. So like my computer couldn't read it, and Windows Movie Maker couldn't read it. So I was like, fuck. So I decided to just stay a whole nother day and figure out what I was gonna do. So I stayed another day. I found a program that can read those doc files so I can actually watch the video. And then I had to find another program to transfer the videos into AVI, which then I could use to transfer into Windows Movie Maker. So now I have double transfer to do. Instead of just one with Windows Movie Maker, I have double. I have to do it with this other one, AVI, AVS for you, and I have to pay 56 bucks to be able to, so they take the little emblem off the middle, and I haven't paid that money yet, so I have the emblem on the middle for the first minute of every video, and then even more than that, but I'm just going to leave it like that because I don't have the courage to spend money yet, because I haven't run out of money yet. Once I start spending money on credit cards, I might go ahead and buy that program, but anyways, which is going to be pretty soon probably, but yeah, so I decided to stay the next day and figure out what the fuck I was going to do. So I stayed another day, and then the next day I saw that at 11 o'clock this girl rolls in, this bike tourist girl, which was interesting because I've seen a bunch of bike tourist guys so far on this trip. There's actually 4 of us staying in one hostel in one night in Albania, including a Japanese guy who's traveling for 4 years and some like 70-year-old New Zealander guy. Anyways, and I saw, you know, a group of bike tourists in Prague, and anyways, this is the first girl. And so, yeah, so I was talking to her because she put her tent next to mine, and she went and she saw Olympia, and it was interesting talking to her because she has a different bike touring philosophy than me, and she was actually kind of chuckling at me, and she thought I was kind of silly because I was like, because of how light I am. Because she's traditional bike, this girl was traditional bike tourist, where she, you know, has the panniers and all the gear and everything, the cooker, and, you know, the sponge and the big tent and all that. And I mean, but she was really laid back. I mean, she had like sandals and no clips, you know, with the big old mountain bike. And she said she started at 6 o'clock that morning, and she starts at 6 o'clock. She gets up at 5 and starts at 6 every day. You know, and she said she'd already ridden 80 kilometers that day, you know, and that's what she usually does. She rides from 6 in the morning until like 11, and then she doesn't ride anymore. She just pitches her tent in the shade and hangs out in the shade or whatever, or maybe she rides in the afternoon. So maybe she would get like a good 120 kilometers in a day just by riding early ass in the morning, and then maybe at dusk or whatever, I don't know, but it was an interesting way And she fed me, and actually had to finish my spaghetti. But that was interesting. She's totally jacked too. It was cool seeing a totally jacked girl close up like that. She said she ran a marathon in 3:45. I was like, that's fast. And she's like, no, it's not. It's just normal. I was like, damn, Swiss must be badass. But yeah, so, and sure enough, the next morning she was gone before 6. I saw her. I actually filmed her. Like there's this video of like pitch black. The camera registered as pitch black. The girl got up like at crack of dawn. Literally, it was still dark. And then I was like, I'm getting up. So I actually saw her off. So that was the earliest day that I got off, was 7:30. An hour and a half later than her, but it was the earliest that I've ever done by an hour, because she inspired me. So that day I rode all the way. I rode from Olympia into Sparta, leaving at 7. And it was really hot that day, and I went over this big pass. It was like 4,400 meters. It was like probably, I think maybe even like the second highest or third highest pass. Because I did 2 in Montenegro that were like 59. One was 59, one was like 58.50. And that may have been like the third highest. But it was fun. That was a fun day. Sparta was beautiful. Just like how you would imagine it after watching that movie 300, you know, with all the craggy mountains, big craggy mountains around everywhere. And, you know, the capital city up on top of a hill, you know, with like grass like this everywhere, and then the nice trees and this beautiful amphitheater up on the side of the mountain. It was like, it's a pretty place. And I had to get my bike. I had to stay in Sparta 2 nights too, because I noticed when I rolled in that my bike had broken in half again. And I kept clipping out on my pedals, which is sketchy, because I have these egg beater pedals, which are great, but especially because you can walk around in them like nothing, like they're normal shoes, because the cleats go in are really small and they tuck actually below this. So I was like hiking mountains and walking around. It was normal, but the cleats got pushed in a little bit, so they were kind of, my feet were popping out on both sides, and maybe because the pedals got loose too, because I heard that egg beater pedals, they get like, the springs get worn out and you have to replace those kind of frequently. So anyways, I went to the bike shop the next day, and I got new pedals, and the guy at the bike shop was kind of like weird. He was like yelling at me and angry with me because I couldn't get my cleats out. It's like, and he's like an ex-bike racer, because I see on the poster, and it's just like, don't you understand that it's not my fault? But anyways, I got that. I ended up, he was like, I don't have time to, I was like, do you have a drill by any chance? You know, he's like, I don't have time yet, get out of here. So I was like, all right. So I went over to the car mechanic place, and I had them solder my bike back together. And then I told him that I needed to drill this, so he drilled it, but it couldn't go through. And he was kind of like, maybe I'll include this, maybe I won't include this in the what I think about Greece, but there are these like car mechanics in there. 2 of them were hanging out drinking beer, and the third one was like working on a car, underneath the car, just like screaming and yelling at the guys. Like, I thought he was like furious with them for like him having to do all the work and them just drinking beer or whatever, but they didn't seem like they were getting upset or whatever. But anyways, I was like, yeah, can you drill my thing? And he's like, and this is my second time there, because I had actually went there to solder my bike together before I went to the bike shop. So I went back to the same guys, and they charged me €4 to solder it back together. I didn't film it, maybe I should have, but and the guy's like rolling his eyes at me like what's it gonna do? You can't, when it drill through the thing? And I was like, yeah, drill, because I thought that's what happened next time, but his drill didn't do anything. So then he just got a normal like screw, like Allen wrench or something that looked like an Allen wrench. It was like a star Allen wrench, and just undid it. Like, it just screwed out. I was like, maybe the vibration from the drill like unloosened it or whatever. But anyways, he and his friend were it's so funny. He and his friend were working on it for like an hour, trying to screw my new cleats back in, and they insisted that they do it, while the other guy was there sitting like giving me beers. Like, they gave me 3 beers while I was watching, and they were like laughing and joking, you know. and they bring it back and it's backwards. So I'm like, yeah, thanks for helping me and everything. I mean, I could do it myself, but yeah, that's backwards. It has to be round. So they're like, oh, fuck. So they go back for like another 20 minutes. I don't know what took them so long. Because the screw goes in fine. The guy in the bike shop actually had to get me another screw because the originals weren't long enough, so he got me longer ones. But they were too long. But then those car mechanics sawed my screws shorter. So anyways, after like 20 minutes, they show it to me again, and it was backwards again. So I was like, no, yeah, backwards, you know, flip it. And they were like, I think they were like yelling at me that I told them it wrong the first time or something. But anyways, here, I'm gonna start again.